I bet you that looks familiar. How you guys doing this morning? How you guys doing today? Hope you're doing great. Let's get this back door open, get our little peek at the weather. We're gonna have a good day no matter what the weather looks like. Oh, look at that sunrise. It's a little bit late. I got here about 5 minutes late. Doesn't take much. Once the sun crests those trees, it's all bets are off. Oh, if you need any paperwork, we got it. We got engine covers. Whatever you guys need, we got it. I hope someone's not driving around without their engine cover, right? Thanks for being in here. I'm glad you tuned in. We're going to spend a day in the auto repair shop. If you're new, I'm Jimmy, and we're making it work. It's been busy this week, so that's good. I don't want another 30-hour week. 3 in a row would be no good. I already know I'm way ahead of that this week, so my electric company will be happy, my cable company will be happy, and my wife will be happy, and everybody gets to eat. None of that's true. Actually, no, that is really true. But we're gonna eat just fine, even at 30 hours a week. Stay tuned, guys. We'll have some fun, and we might learn a thing or two. Me and you. Joe's been done with this Cadillac since Tuesday. The customer said, "Can you put calipers on it too while you're in there?" I already have them. So they said, "Okay, bring them down." And then he said, "Once they come in, I'll bring them down." So it's been sitting on Joe's rack since Tuesday. He's gonna save 200 bucks. So I don't know what they're charging him per day on the lift, but. All right, we're firing up the day by finishing up this induction service. I was worried that without the valve it might go too fast. It actually does the opposite. It goes even slower than I normally do. It might take half an hour. So once this is done, I can reconnect everything, clear my codes, and take it for a drive. We're gonna wait on the cat and see if the lean problem might have been affecting the cat codes, so it's possible. I have a feeling it's gonna mean the cat too, but we're gonna wait and make sure. All right, still going. It's been 30 minutes. I've been perusing the Snap-on catalog while I was waiting. If you're interested in dent pulling, like body shop type stuff, your aluminum dent pulling kit. If you guys knew, just a heads up, if you're interested, you can get it with the cart. This welds the studs to the aluminum panel so you can pull dents with it. And it comes with some tools. You know, you get your little different metal forming tools, body hammers. You know, you get a temp gun, so you know you're not overdoing temperature stuff. You see how this works. You know? So with the cart and everything, it's $16,090. But don't worry, if that seems expensive, you can get it without the cart. I guess a couple other things get left out too. It drops down to only $7,800. $7,805 to be exact, not $77.99. $7,805. You know, you get a little bit less stuff, but if you want the best, you got to pay for it. But no worries, if you want to do steel, they have welders and stuff for that too, so that's not too bad. You know, 140 amp, 115 volt MIG welder, $3,570. Just a little expensive. The 220 amp, $3,760. So that's this $3,700 one's comparable to the Lincoln welder I have. It was $699. So it's shaped different. So I don't know. Must be better. The way you tell the quality of a welder is the duty cycle, which is how much time you can weld versus the amperage and the material you're welding, etc. Generally, you want a 220. The 115s will work, but I find the 220s seem to be a lot better. They don't heat up as fast and shut themselves off to protect themselves as quickly. Showed you guys the impact in my short. Well, you got options. Oh, it's just about, I'm gonna let it run completely out. We got this much invested, let's see it through. Alright. Button this thing up, grab the scanner, clear all those nuisance codes out of there. I'm gonna take a quick look at the fuel trims and make sure we're on the right track with all that too. These are the codes you might expect after doing this service. We got lean codes, rich codes, we got misfire codes. The cat code is for previous, and the evap code because I had it disconnected. It's looking to see the fuel tank pressure sensor in the back. It's going, wait a second, I'm opening the purge valve and the fuel tank pressure's not changing, so we must have an evap leak. So all those codes, they gotta go. This is a GM, so it shouldn't care if the engine's running when you clear codes. So we'll see if it does it. It may tell me shut the engine off because it's an 18, you know. Nope, it doesn't. Even the newer ones will still do it. GMs have always, and Toyota, they let you clear codes with the engine running, but a lot of other brands won't let you. I don't know why. So now we got no codes. Now we'll take a quick look at fuel trims. Oh, long-term fuel trim, short-term fuel trim. You can look at oxygen sensors too. It's pulling fuel away now that the vacuum leak's fixed. I haven't reset the fuel trim yet. It's kind of already got quite a bit of it corrected because I fixed the vacuum leaks, and while I did the induction service, between the 2 cans of induction service, this thing probably ran an hour. The induction service pays an hour and a half. The tune-up pays an hour, so I made more money doing the induction service. That's why I don't like to cut corners. If I feel like I'm being paid fairly, I'm going to do 100%. You know, some places want to pay you 3/10 for an induction service. Guess how long that mechanic's going to take to do it? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? So, it matters. Some people think it doesn't matter, but anyway, enough bloviating. I'm going to take this thing for a drive. Once I unbutton everything and drop that hood, we'll see how it runs. Alright, we're going to take this thing for a drive, and oh, sad Paul, look. Paul's very sad. Paul's a mechanic today. Bill called out. Look at him. He's so sad. He's got to do a couple of oil changes today, so he looks like someone kicked his puppy. He's going to be okay, don't worry about it. She's a run of good. Steering wheel is not straight. That's terrible. We're going to have to see if they want to do an alignment while it's here. They cleared out some of the trees. It's nice. Now you can see all the moo cows. Moo cow! As we used to say when my boys were little. Moo cows. My oldest son, Corey. Moo cows. Oh, they're so cute when they're little. Alright. One last thing I'm going to do. I left my scanner on it. I'm just going to check to make sure there's no pending codes. Let's go like this. Read fault code. DTC display. No pending codes. This one's done. Let's see what's next. You don't want to drive that with no power steering. I feel bad for the power steering pump. Somebody's wheel fell off going past the shop. I don't want to be too obvious with the camera because I'm sure he's not happy. So, that's a bummer. Right rear quarter panel crushed. Who knows what happened underneath the car. Customer approved this compressor. That's the good news. It's like 4.5 hours labor. Brace yourselves, there might be parts in here. Oh yeah, there's parts in there. You got the little cushions that go in between the clutch plates. And some minor debris. That means most of it is going to be in this front one. Oh, you hear it? Uh-oh, I don't want to get hit in the head by flying debris. That's not good. That's not supposed to be like that. Yep. That's a plastic compressor clutch. So guess what happens when your compressor locks up and you have a plastic pulley on your compressor? Snap, and you get stuck. You don't just lose your AC, you lose everything. So Mercedes makes the superior automobile. That's what I'm told by my German friends. And they say it almost exactly like that. None of that's really true. Gotta take your Freon out first. You might wonder where the high side fitting is, and I might wonder too. They're usually pretty sneaky, but yeah, look at you sons of guns. How are you supposed to get that out? Oh, look. I didn't realize it's got a door, silly. Mercedes thinks of everything. They're like, you know, we could put that in an easy location. We'll just make a little door instead. It's actually pretty convenient once you find it. Well, I'm a little bit sad. Hopefully there's no Freon in it because the front seal leaked it out. So we might fix the compressor and have an AC leak too. Maybe that's why it blew up. You never know with a car like this. Hopefully, just a compressor. Oh, I know. Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to have to still pull it down a little bit. just to make sure there isn't any remnants. Fast and Furious, bro. All right, let's give this thing a minute to cook, and I'm gonna go look at the procedure just in case they have a different opinion on how to do it than I do. Fresh off the gear wrench truck. Question is, do we get anything new? Well, compressor's down there somewhere. Our first order of business is going to be getting those 2 Allen bolts out of the hoses now that I got the Freon out. 2014 Buick Enclave, you guys might remember I put heater hoses on. It came in with the heater hose exploded. Customer says the MIL light came on. The light immediately returned after the last repair. Check and advise, customer states vehicle is still leaking, dark brown in color. We fixed the coolant leak, it was orange. A road test for a vibration at 60 miles an hour plus. So, instead of getting my AC job, I'm going to look at something that they consider a comeback, it looks like. Well, I'm just going to row my little butt off and go see what's wrong with this thing. Don't let it get you down. Keep smiling and get it done. You guys might remember this one, I'm not sure. 2014 Buick Enclave. Oh, they got the religious station on. That's nice. Ever since you worked on my car, there's stuff wrong with it. I know. Praise the Lord. Put this thing on the back rack here. I'm gonna see why the check engine light's on. I mean, there is a possibility I did something wrong. I mean, I don't know. We drove it twice and made sure it wasn't overheating after I fixed the coolant leak. So I'm assuming I didn't do something wrong. That's how I'm going with it. And I'm going to get it on the lift, see what might be dripping underneath. It probably has an oil leak or something, like from valve cover gaskets or rear main seal or something. Codes could be anything. Evap, catalytic converter. But you know what? I'm going to spend a minute or two finding out. You guys, it'll only be a second or two. All right, I did a full scan. Sent the report to Katie. So we got a PO 496. Evap system flowed during non-purge, which 100% of the time it's a purge valve. But I'll still have to go under the hood, pop the engine cover off. Usually what I'll do is check it for vacuum and either turn off the purge valve with the scan tool or just unplug it. If you unplug it, you'll probably have to clear a code for a circuit on the purge valve. But you can unplug the electrical connector and it shouldn't flow any vacuum with the engine running, right? So if it is, the purge valve's bad. Very, very common on these. I want to say I remember that code from before. So if it was unplugged, if I left something unplugged, it would have a code for a circuit problem, right? It also has HVAC codes, and driver door panel switch module has a problem with the front door window motor. It's not happy about the calibration, probably. It's calibration not learned. So I would probably go ahead and do that. If I was feeling a little loved, then I would love him back and I would go ahead and take care of that. But okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna do it. Let's get under the hood, see if that purge valve's flowing when it's not supposed to. There's a purge valve that bolts into the intake with a 10, and it has an O-ring going into here, so it just has the one hose. I'm gonna start it up. I'll look at the scan tool and see if it's at 0 and I have vacuum. I started it up and the purge valve started clicking. Yeah, it's passing vacuum. The purge valve was clicking already, so I went into testing actuation, evaporator emission purge, commanded state 0. You can turn it on and off from here. You hear the clicking, flowing vacuum. You can hear the solenoid click. Now if I decrease it, it should go to 0. You can hear it stop clicking. It's still pulling a vacuum. So it's got a bad purge valve. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's some oil leaks, alright. There is some oil leaks, alright. Coming from above the compressor, running down the motor mount. Where's the oil filter on this thing? The drain plug don't look like it might not be sealed there. That's not good. Why did I make it leak oil? I don't understand. Alright, enough. My feelings are a little hurt, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the problems. One of the problems with being pretty meticulous and trying to do a good job, putting extra effort in. take it a little personal when people come back saying, ever since you worked on my car. I'm gonna let it back down and look at the valve cover and see maybe there's something. Oh, you know what? This does have an oil filter that's above the motor mount. It's not a brand new oil filter, but that looks like what's leaking. Looks like the oil filter, or possibly the oil filter mount or housing. But I'm gonna check to see if it's tight too, but it's really hot right now, so I'll have to let it cool off a little bit for that. Well, the valve cover's dry, everything above the filter is dry. The oil filter has to be the leak. Let me look at the oil change sticker and see if that's been done. Aha! 124,749 miles. Take 5 oil change it last. It says 4/22/23 it's due, or 127,156. So it's got a little ways before it's due again, if the sticker's accurate. But it looks like the oil filter's leaking. So it's either not tight or defective. I have seen them where they leak out of the seam. It looks like a pretty cheap oil filter on there too. I'm sure that Take 5 is not using the top quality Wicks or Napa or something like that, but even STP is better than what they're using probably. I never had a problem with an STP filter, but one of my videos someone was saying STP filters are junk. Okay. Let me look. Come on, that wasn't even tight. That's ridiculous. Is that hose going to be in my way? You turkeys. That's alright though. I got it adapted down to my quarter bit. I'm using my carbine bits. And I'll just have to go to a quarter drive swivel and take my 3/8 off so I can have the joint further down. Well, seems a little better. Let's see if it'll loosen from there though. Oh, that's nice. I didn't want to use a quarter drive just in case they were pretty tight, but they're just really not that tight. Some people say if you didn't video it, it didn't happen. So I didn't lift this car up. now you know. I can get to this from the bottom pretty easy, but I won't be able to have you guys in there probably too much. Just a little more. Oh, that's what we've been working with. All right, these gear wrench ratcheting torque wrenches are about to come in super handy. Schmuckatelli recommended them to me, so I figured I'd give them a try. They seem like they'll be good. Ooh, they're a little short though, but these bolts are only like 16, 18 foot-pounds, no big deal. If Schmuckatelli recommends them, they gotta be good, I'm guessing. But I'll tell you what, he gives me a hard time about my Chinese stuff, but him and his wife support the channel, sent Christmas gifts. I mean, what's not to love about that? Give each other a hard time, that's okay. Nobody's feelings need to get hurt. Just have some fun, give a little hard time back, and enjoy it, you know, make the best of it. Now the bolt doesn't fit out, so I'll have to note that when I put the new compressor. So 19th century air guns. That's another thing I don't care about. I joke. Don't take it too personally. Just have some fun, laugh a little bit, and take it with a grain of salt. I might be serious, but I'm probably not. That all sounds very confusing. Oh, I got to do the electrical connector and that top bolt after this one. And this compressor's basically out. I can't. Why does it pays like 3.6 hours? Maybe the dryer will be easy too, and this will be a really good ticket. That'd be nice. No more 30-hour weeks. Pull the electrical connector off of the bracket that it's on, and it's a tiny little guy. It's like a 050 pin. That's crazy. Be gentle with that. Got purple O-rings for my sockets. It's an E12 in a socket, and my wrench says 2/3 or 2/3. I don't know what that means, but I'm using Tecton Torx sockets. I think this should fit it. Yeah, that's nice. Now we got to use a universal again just to clear this frame right here. Now, this extension might seem like overkill, but you know what? I already have it out and ready to go, so I'm quite a ways away. Just for fun. Ooh, that's tight. I got you guys on the ratchet cam. I'm sorry, you're getting dizzy? I'll stop. Just 3 bolts hold that in. Come on, that's too easy. I love Mercedes. Have I told you guys that? The phone's ringing too. Did I tell you guys that yet? Hey man, the phone's ringing. Just had to tweak that little hose just a little bit. Nothing radical. Just. I'm gonna see if the compressor's here, and hopefully it comes with O-rings. Those are a little bit weird. They're unusual sizes. I always do them while the compressor's out of my way, so I don't have to fight with them afterwards, right? And then, oh, look at that. They must have a fog light code, and someone did work on it, didn't plug it back in, I guess. Should I take a chance and plug it in? Maybe it shorts, sets the car on fire. I don't know. I'm gonna plug it in and take a risk because I don't think it does any of that. Connector won't go on, that's why it fell off. I might have to put a little dielectric on the rubber so it'll be slippery going into the plastic. I'm going to put dielectric grease on this thing, and that's why it won't plug in, because the rubber is shoved to the side. So I'm just going to rearrange all that. Should snap right in. And I'll put dielectric grease on it. Now for the moment of truth. Once I put my pocket screwdriver away. Ta-da! So somebody tried to plug it in, it didn't feel right, they just left it and then it fell out. I'm guessing that's what happened. Man, this car's gonna be like brand new. I'm really excited. Uh-oh. Made in China. Look at that thing, huh? You wouldn't even be able to tell a little kid built this if I didn't show you. I mean, it's just a joke. I hope a little kid didn't build it, but that's all in the past, I'm told. I don't know. All I know is it's gonna go in there and we're gonna see how good it, oh look, I got good news too. Luckily this one didn't blow up like I thought. I felt like I couldn't turn it before, but I think pieces of the hub were dragging on that, so I couldn't turn it. Anyway, this should go in pretty quick and easy. They said the dryer's not available, we're going to do it without it. And I said, okay. I'll just vacuum it a little extra time. You always read these stickers and answer the phone, and it tells you what's going on and how much oil it has in it. Pre-charged with 3 ounces of oil. Must add recommended amount of oil. So what I'm going to do is dump that into a container, see what's in there. If it's less than 3 ounces, then I'm probably okay with the 3 ounces that are in here. If it seems like it's empty, then I'm going to add another ounce or 2 with the machine. And if it's over full, I might have to dump some of this out. Generally, I find I need to leave at least a couple ounces, if not 3, in the compressor. So I basically have to figure out whether it's over-oiled, under-oiled, and make little adjustments from there. This compressor came with O-rings. I'm very happy about that. That makes me happy. They're not purple, but I think I probably mentioned earlier that the color doesn't really matter. Purple or green, it's the same materials. You can't make a Japanese bike sound like a Harley by taking the mufflers off. It's just not possible. As long as it's compatible with 134A refrigerant, it doesn't have to be purple. Sometimes they're purple. It's all good. If you guys haven't seen my other videos too, after I put the new O-rings on, I'm going to use a little refrigerant oil and lubricate the outside of the O-rings. Because if you shove it in dry, stuff tears. You got to be careful. when it's dry and it goes together, it'll roll and rip and do all kinds of crazy stuff. A little bit of lubrication, slides right in. Just a little oil on your fingertip. It doesn't take, you gotta be flexible like a circus freak, or maybe a nicer word is circus performer. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings in case anyone from the circus watches the channel. So I always say circus performer's a lot better. They used to call them freaks back in the day. But I don't think that's acceptable anymore. It doesn't change what they are, it's just names and words, I guess. But sticks and stones can apparently break your bones, and words can also hurt you. I'm probably going to take the bolts that has plastic caps in the compressor ports. I'll take the bolts out but leave the plastic caps until I get it in so all the oil doesn't pour out of it if I have to turn it. That's a plan, you gotta have a plan. And that little pulley should have had any girth. Problems getting it in, I would assume. There it is. Now I gotta sneak my bolt in there before I slide it up all the way. Alright. It's easy, man. I should be paying them. Once you get the compressor up, you can pop your little caps off there. I like to seat the hoses as much as I can, get them flush. And the bolt should start, if it's straight, flush. Try to never pull those hoses down with the bolt. Get it 90% of the way, you're golden. I could probably put the belt on from the bottom too. Of course, the labor just got cut in half too because they can't get the kit that goes with the compressor normally. It's not available till like next Wednesday. So they said the compressor's not locked up, so we don't have to do the other parts, right? I said, okay. Save the customer some money anyway, and I think it'll be fine. That's how I would do it if it was my car. I don't know where they find these guys with exotic cars that don't want to go to the dealer. What are you guys doing, man? Stop. You gotta pay attention, man. Not sure what's up with that car. It's not that I don't like to work on those cars, or that I can't work on those cars. It's that I don't know a lot about them, so it wastes my time and your money. Because I'm not going to work on it for free, charge you a half hour for something that takes 2 hours to figure out. I'm going to charge you for the time. So it probably will cost less going to the dealer. But they don't seem to understand it. I don't know. Not up to me. It says repairing your file, has a little picture of a band-aid on it. And then it has a check on a blue circle. Let me know what repaired the file it messed up. After some soul searching, I decided to try to do the belt from the bottom. It goes from this side all the way up around everything and then back to the crank. And then up around all this stuff. Like that. There it is. That's the hard one. Got it. Feel like a winner already. Haven't even won yet. I'm getting the vibe. Getting the winning vibe. It comes from that idler down to the tensioner and then up to the crank. Let's try that. I'm going to grab a 17 first so I can work the tensioner too. Now, I saw that coming. Oh, it's not on the idler up top. Gravity check. Now something's happening. Other than the phone ringing. I'm feeling pretty good about that now. Did you guys, can you even see it? I don't know. I'll show you guys what it looks like up here. There you go. The belt goes down, up around every single pulley first, and then it goes to the crank last. So the belt goes this way, and then up, and then over, and then down. It's not that complicated. It's just a little complicated. It's really unusual actually, but the speed of the accessories turning is determined by pulley diameter, not at all by the length of the belt. So the length of the belt determines how many revolutions the belt makes for each turn of the crank pulley. You know, like a longer belt, it'll take 10 crank pulley turns to roll the belt around once, right? But the speed of the pulleys is only determined by their diameter compared to each other, compared to the crankshaft actually. Anyway, let's put this thing on a vacuum. After we finish tightening up the compressor, hose bolts, of course. All right, now. These are probably about, I'd say 12, 15 foot-pounds. That's what I'm going with. Put it on vacuum and let it eat. Well, I got good news. Well, I mean, you guys aren't really as worried about it as this Mercedes owner, probably his, but oh, the phone, it's ringing. It's pulling a vacuum, so that's good. Change the compressor out and it pulls a vacuum and the phone rings. Perfect. It's still ringing. I got once this thing gets down another minute or so, then I'll go ahead to vacuum out. Let me get the phone. I'm gonna give it a 1 hour vacuum. A little bit extreme, but I had it open a little while when not changing the dryer, so I'm gonna try to dry out the system as good as I can. Make sure we got the best chance of it working. If there's any moisture in the system, it freezes and causes blockages and erratic temperature and things like that. So you want to get all the moisture out you can. Happy to see it's at least pulling some kind of vacuum. Hopefully there's no other leaks. Just an oil change Riley and Paul are doing. I thought it was going to be, I thought I was going to have to do like a diagnostic for runs rough once a month or so. But just an oil change. Don't worry about it. No stress. This here Jeep Liberty apparently only goes backwards. And that's not going to cut it. Just like the reclined seat isn't. So what we're going to do is see if there's any codes. Take a quick look at the fluid and get an estimate for a transmission. Because that's probably what it is. That's not really funny, but... Alright, 161,278 miles on this 2012 Jeep Liberty. Not in that bad a shape. I'm going to give it a 5. Needs a little bit of a vacuuming and a little detail work, but not too bad. I had the brake on and it's in park. Both of them lock the rear wheels. That's good. Reverse. Uh-oh. That's not right. It definitely only goes in reverse. Reverse it into the grass. What the heck is this guy doing now? Looking to see if we make a mess or something. I wonder if the air works. It'd be nice to have a little AC while we're here at least. Recirc. Let's fire up the old top-down Phoenix Light 2 and see what kind of codes we got. Why would you leave that open in Florida? It's 86 degrees today. The news this morning said 10 degrees hotter than normal. Like, how do you determine what's normal? Tomorrow it's supposed to be 71. Maybe it's not normal, I don't know. TCM, enter DTC information. Solenoid circuit, TCM power input low, and an evap leak. Transmission control module, power input low. Alright, let me send a report. It's remotely possible that it doesn't have power to the TCM. Generally, it'll work in second gear and reverse, and you won't lose forward altogether. 2.36 plus or minus 0.02 pounds. So I'm going to call that 2.4. On these Mercedes, or Mercedes, as some people like to say, anytime there's a failure, usually you have to clear codes and things of that sort, because it's not going to let it work otherwise. So we'll get the scanner talking to her, make sure there's no air conditioning codes, bottom line. I'm not going to do a smart scan on this. I got to finish looking at that Liberty transmission. I got to check the fluid. They do have a lot of IPDMs. They send power to the transmission solenoids to control them and all. They also do have solenoid packs on the transmissions that go bad. Even with those not working, it'll go into limp mode where it's in second gear going forward and reverse. And it's only got reverse, no forward. So something broken in the transmission. But air conditioner, okay, I think that'll work. Read fault codes. Refrigerant low, clear DTCs. I'm also going to look and see if you, a lot of times they call it when you replace a part on a Mercedes or BMW, you have to do what's called a build-in. Turn the key on. You have to do what's called a build-in, let it know that you replaced this part. So the operating parameters might be slightly different than it is with a worn-out part. Break-in procedure after replacement of refrigerant compressor. Teach-in of rotary potentiometers for the air outlets. Teach-in actuators. Build-in, teach-in. You know what I mean. Normalization of position of break-in procedure after replacement. Button off, not operated. Operate engine idle speed. Start process with button. Hey, so let's see if we have power steering. Oh man, that's nice. Now we're gonna go okay. I'm looking at the AC machine and seeing if there's any pressure change. I'm not seeing a pressure change at this point. Maybe after this supposed process is over. I know one thing, it'll turn the belt at least now. AC compressor initialization in progress. Oh, my pressures are changing. Yay! You see them up there? I'll crop it in a little bit so you guys can see it. I'm crushing the gauges. I'm crushing you guys. Some of you guys probably don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm not making that up. It's from a old school television show. You guys know what it is? Tell me in the comments. I used to say, I'm crushing your head. I'm crushing your head. I'll own it. I don't care. Oh man, that's nice too. Oh, I'm gonna let this run and finish its test. It takes a couple minutes, so that'll be a little boring for you guys. I don't want you to be bored. Boom, successfully completed AC compressor initialization. So I still gotta put the under tray on underneath and all that, but I'll just do that real quick. Now, of course, Jeep and Mercedes were buddies for a while, and they decided you don't need a dipstick. They said, you know what, Jeep owners have no idea what they're doing. The last thing we need is for them checking their transmission fluid. So, oh yeah, it's full, just a tiny bit sparkly, and burned. You can smell it, so I was gonna put the dipstick away. It just has a dipstick tube cap. That's all you really need. Stop messing with your Jeeps. You're not allowed. It needs a transmission. 2011 Volkswagen. Volkswagen's a people's car. A lot of clutter. Just some remnants of food. I don't see a lot of food. I'm gonna say 4. I'm disappointed in the clutter, but you know, 5 minutes. It's cleaned up pretty good. 138,618 miles. Oh, you don't believe me? Oh, come on, man. I thought you guys trust me a little bit. 138,618. See, I wouldn't lie to you guys, man. It's about twice the life expectancy of your average Volkswagen vehicle. It's seeing some love, but these always make me a little nervous. As soon as you see that, you know it's all on Dad. So if the oil's been changed, it's because Dad had it done. The oil change sticker, it's faded away. No longer shows the miles because it's been a long time. She wants to know why the oil's leaking and what we could do about it. She's hoping it's not more than $100. All we can do is take a look and see what it is. Riley's doing an oil change on this one, and I just came over to look because this thing has some impressive brakes on it. It's got the MGP calipers, and that's nice. This thing must stop on a dime and give you 9 cents change. Oh, the front brakes have been upgraded to MGPs too. Holy moly, man. That's crazy. The caliper's almost bigger than the rotor. Let's just take a look. The valve cover's definitely leaking a little bit. And so, oh, look at that. Looks like the oil filter cap might be leaking. I know what's wrong. It's on backwards. Who would do that? Who would send someone down the road with their oil cap on backwards? I can't. And maybe it won't leak that way. I don't know. It looks like the gasket's actually pretty. The gasket's pretty bad. You generally want to fix your oil leaks from the top down. We'll lift it up and take a peek. Uh-oh. That's pretty bad. One of the things you can notice is that inside the bell housing, the flywheel and all is not oily. So this oil is coming around the outside of the bell housing. Same thing with the front crank seal. It's dry behind the crank pulley and wet around the oil pan. Alright. See that up there? That's the old Volkswagen vacuum pumper doodle. I don't think that's the scientific name for it. That's what it does. It's a vacuum pumper doodle. Vacuum pumper doer. Something like that. But it's leaking oil pretty bad. So everything else probably isn't too bad. There's some wetness around where the oil filter is. I'm assuming it constantly gets spilled. Plus some of it's probably running down here and going down the pan rail. So we'll have to do a very thorough cleaning if we repair it. It will no longer be rust proofed, as someone pointed out in the comments. They said, you cleaned all the oil off of there, now it's going to rust. Alright, valve cover gasket, oil filler cap, and a vacuum pump. Battery wasn't in the hold down. It's still not, but it was leaning up against the air snorkel dealy. So someone put a battery in that shouldn't be putting batteries in. I'll fix that if we go in there to fix that. Then I'll fix that. And it won't be fixed. We're going to try to find out what's going on with the fuse panel on this thing, so we can pin down that rear blower problem he says he has, which, if you guys remember this, I was looking at that rear AC, I put that rear blower resistor in there. Everyone says that's probably the problem, and so they ordered one up front and said, just put it in, we're not going to charge them for it. The rear blower doesn't work at all, so either that rear resistor is defective or there's something going on. He says the rear AC, something weird with it. Sometimes it doesn't work at all, sometimes it turns on with the key off by itself. So we put that blower resistor in. They wanted to do it thinking it might fix it, and they're not charging them for it. So then after that didn't fix it, I started playing around trying to figure out exactly what's wrong with it, and something going on with the fuse panel. You guys might remember that I had to wiggle a 20 amp fuse because the ALDO would turn off and lose voltage every once in a while. So it's got a bad connection in here. I told him I got to fix the connection in the fuse box, which could be from that, before I can fix the rear blower problem. So let me get a nut for this thing, make sure that's all tight, and then we'll check and see if we continue to have problems with the ALDO connector. I'm going to plug my little dongle in there and make sure that light's green, and if I wiggle a fuse around, the light flickers, and I know I got to do something with the pins in here. Looks like it's been off a while, whatever it goes to. Be cool if it was something that simple. Check and see if that might have done something. Alright, I got this sweet ALDL holder tool made by Muller Keps. And if I wiggle a 20 amp fuse, it powers up the cigarette lighter and the ALDL. You can watch, I wiggle it, and you hear this thing beeping. If I just touch it while it's lit, I definitely got to do something with this fuse. I had nothing to do with it. I don't know what it went to. Maybe it goes to the blower. I don't know. I'm just happy to be working on something else on this besides the transmission. That's all I know. Jack trying to fit me into a thong. Same kind of thing. Those are the spring-loaded contacts. That's going to be a tough one. These bolts go through to the connectors that hold the connectors up on the fuse panel. So I think if I take those 4 bolts out and there's some snaps around the perimeter, I can pull this up. I don't know what I'll be able to do about those though. I could try a different fuse. You could also put a curve in the legs of the fuse. Just put a little curve in them like that so it'll hold tighter in there. I'll try that first. I'm going to try a new fuse and then try tweaking that one if I have to. Alright, I tweaked these legs a little bit. I just got a little bit of a kick in the legs. I don't know if you can see that. Not much. Just a little bit. Now I'm going to try wiggling it again and see if it stays lit. Jiggling it pretty good. I think that's going to work. It feels tighter too. It's not moving around. We're golden, Jerry. I'm going to jiggle it a few more times. Now I can put my scanner on it, try to figure out what's going on with the auxiliary HVAC module, it's called. The part I put in last week was a blower resistor speed control module, or a blower auxiliary blower fan control module. Its only job is to take the voltage it gets from the auxiliary HVAC control module, takes the voltage signal it gives it, and it controls how much ground goes to the rear blower motor to control speed. That's the closest thing to HVAC. What does that say? Heating and air conditioning. Alright. No DTCs. History DTCs. Lost comm with body multiple control system. Lost comm with engine control system. Lost comm rear seat. Let's try clearing those. Read data stream. Air conditioning compressor feedback. Pressure cycle. Rear defrost switch. Left temperature detent. Air conditioning switch. This must be the front HVAC, and it's not talking to the rear HVAC at all. Lift gate module, driver door module. Rear HVAC. Look at that. I don't think I was able to talk. Yeah, I'm not able to talk to this. That's a definite factor. Rear heating, ventilation, and AC. Well, if that's not working or communicating, it's not going to run the rear blower fan, right? Let's put this on 3 from the front control. We got nothing. Put it on rear control just to verify. Try it from a rear control switch. I don't hear anything. Yeah, there's definitely nothing. Something's not coming to the party. And we'll have to do a test for power and ground, see why it's not communicating. I'm going to take a quick look in that fuse panel too and make sure there isn't a fuse for it missing. The customer may have pulled it out and doesn't remember pulling it out, so it would stop running the fan. Very possible. Alright, I went through here and checked fuse 13 and fuse 36. Fuse 36 powers up the rear HVAC module. All my fuses are good. And the HVAC module is right back here. You can't see it because the seat's in the way. I gotta put all this back together, which apparently just pops out the back of the console. I thought the console covered it and it was on the floor or something. But the control panel is the rear HVAC module apparently. So let's get the seat folded down, see if we can pop that out. Oh, gotta get the phone. This should pop out so easy, I don't even need a trim stick. Alright, I'm gonna grab my scan tool and see if I can wiggle and squeeze. Sometimes with these GM modules, or any brand really, you squeeze the electronics and they'll light up and start working. I'm gonna try that real quick, and I'm gonna get my voltmeter to check powers and grounds. I'm squeezing the connector. I unplugged it and looked in the pins, they all look good. Let's try squeezing it and enter. No communication. It was worth a try. I'm gonna check for powers and grounds. Gotta make sure my ground's good. Sometimes you gotta scratch off the paint a little bit, get a good ground. Now I gotta look for battery positive on an orange wire, ground on a black wire, and the control wire is a solid gray wire. It looks like 16A, 16B, and B4. Okay, here it is. So it's going by rows. This is row A and row B, not connector A and connector B. So this is 12, this is 1. So my orange power wire should be on 13 volts. There is a black wire, that's B1. On here it says B16. See if I have voltage drop on it. No. Gray wires, there are several. B4, 5 volts. Let me try changing the fan speed. No difference. I'm looking to see one change with the control knob. I'm going to check all these gray wires. So here's my connector. Here's the orange wire I probed and had battery voltage. That's A2. This is the second wire over here. This black wire at B1 is the ground. So B12 on the opposite end, where the ground is, all the way over here, should be the blower control. That should have somewhere between battery voltage and a ground. I have full battery voltage. Now if I ground this, let's try switching it, see it, yeah, nothing happens. And I have no communication with it either. Technically, from what I'm reading in the diagram, if I ground that, it should turn on the rear fan. Let's try that. What's the worst that can happen? We let the smoke out? At this point, I'm willing to take that chance. And hook my test light up to ground. Test light's probably one of the better ways to do it. I'll make sure I've got a good ground. I got my blower thing. This is the 12 volts. Ah, there's my rear fan. You hear it? So, this thing needs a rear HVAC module, they call it. HVAC control module. I can just pop it out of there and have them get me one. And if voltage is on that circuit with my meter, if I had 2 volts, 5 volts, 7 volts, that's the fan speeds. The resistor takes that voltage input and goes, okay, we want half speed or 3/4 speed, you know, low, medium, high, etc. So when I give it a full ground, I got full blower. So I know that if it was working and communicating, the fan would work, because I can make it work. I hope that makes sense. Let me go up front with this. This is where we're ending this video today too, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. The support of the channel has been great. If you guys torque the like button, maybe leave a comment down below what you think about today's videos or any of the videos from this week. And keep in mind too, if you leave a comment, I reply, and then you reply again, it won't notify me. So just leave a second comment if you want to make sure I'm going to see it and be able to respond. I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope I see you in the next video, because you're awesome.